Cyberpunk has been the most talked about game, not just within 2020, but also within the last couple of years. So in this video, we are going to be going through 34 different reasons of why players are just so hyped to get their hands on Cyberpunk 2077. Before I do get into the video, if you do want to see me streaming this game live when it does finally drop, not within November this time, but in fact on December the 10th, then there is a link in the description down below which will take you over to the Twitch stream. Drop a follow there and you'll be notified when I go live with Cyberpunk. Getting back into the video, 34 different reasons of why we are so hyped for Cyberpunk. The first reason is that it has been in development for a very long time. We got our first teaser trailer back in 2013, and for a very long time it was quiet within the middle. And over the last couple of years there's been many trailers as well as many gameplay videos which is just built on that hype. But to go all the way back to 2013, and that's when we first got our trailer, there was a very small team starting development on this game within 2013 and also 2012. So a very long time of development. The next reason is that there is a lot of lore back in Cyberpunk. Originally Cyberpunk was a pen and paper RPG, and this game was designed by Mike Pondsmith and was published in 1988. So there was already many years of lore backing this game up, which was foundation that CD Projekt Red can build on. This game will be on next gen. The game will be released on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC and Stadia. And on top of this, CD Projekt Red have confirmed that if you buy it on Xbox One or PlayStation 4, you will get a free upgrade to the next gen consoles. So if you've got it on PlayStation 4, you'll get it on PlayStation 5. If you got it on Xbox One, you'll be able to get it on Xbox Series X or Series S. Next up, you can change your character's appearance. Customization is broken down to a number of different presets that the player can choose. So you can change up the face, hair, scars, eyes, eye color, nose, mouth, jaw, ears, skin tone, tattoos, and so much more. In addition to changing up your character's appearance, you can also change up your character's clothing, which will have an effect on V. Clothing is important for your character to look good, but also provides chemical resistance, physical resistance, thermal resistance, electrical resistance, and there is also a benefit in which it will link into an XP system, which is street cred. So you can get an item of clothing which will give you a certain percentage of increase in street cred. There's a huge variation in the types of weapon loadouts that you can have because of how many weapons there are. When choosing your weapon loadout, you can choose between smart weapons, tech weapons, power weapons. There is also attachments and modifications for each of these weapons, and for every single weapon that you find or buy, it can vary between common, uncommon, rare, and legendary. And on top of having these weapons, you can also change your melee weapons, cyberware, and throwables. And some of these areas can also be broken down into other areas. For example, cyberware can be broken down to offensive cyberware and also defensive cyberware. All of this is up for you to change. So you get to pick the weapons that you want and use that to benefit your playstyle. As this is a role-playing game, V will become more experienced with these weapons the more you use them. At the beginning of the game, V is a small-time mercenary and transforms into a legend within Night City as you progress through the game. So V will become more proficient using these weapons. This includes reload times being shorter, V's accuracy improves, faster aiming time, move faster with your weapon. Everything becomes more in your control, making you that much better as a mercenary. We did briefly talk about it with the weapons, but cyberware needs to have its own category. This is what this game revolves around. Cyberware is massive within the game and can completely change up everything. We've already talked about how you can choose between offensive cyberware and defensive cyberware, and you can equip all of this cyberware by going to your Ripper dock. There are many Ripper docks out there that operate legally, but some conduct illicit deals such as installing military grade cybernetics for the right price, and this is done illegally. And to make all of these weapons feel absolutely amazing, as well as the cyberware, throwables, any type of melee weapons, and to give it that real nice feel to the game, a brutal combat system is part of Cyberpunk. We've already seen that in some of the gameplay as well as some of the trailers that have been released, and it looks absolutely amazing. There is a huge variation in vehicles within Cyberpunk. Originally, there was planned to be vehicle customization, so a player can buy whatever vehicle they want and then they can upgrade it. But unfortunately, CD Projekt Red had to cut back on this, but they did make a number of different assets that could be used for the vehicles. So now you can buy into already customized vehicles, and you can get some very good looking vehicles in this game. Races have also been highlighted with Cyberpunk 2077. CD Projekt Red have always said that races will be coming to Cyberpunk, but with a slight twist. We recently found out with Night City Wire episode 4 that this slight twist sounds very much like death races, but with how much effort we know CD Projekt Red have put into the vehicles, we can very well have some fast-paced, high-intensity races within Cyberpunk. A big part of Cyberpunk is choosing your own path, and one way you're allowed to do this is by choosing a life path at the beginning. This will change up the introduction and will have lasting effect on V throughout the rest of the game. The life paths that you have is Nomad, Street Kid, or Core, each one giving you a very different introduction. With choosing your own path, CD Projekt Red have also added a branch and dialogue system. Branch and dialogue is in the game, and there's a number of things that will connect to this. Your choice in life path at the beginning of the game will unlock new dialogue options depending who you are talking to. So if you pick Street Kid at the beginning, you'll have more dialogue options talking to gang members. Whereas if you pick Corp at the beginning, you'll have more dialogue options when talking to the mega corporations. Street cred can also play a part in this. The higher your reputation is in the world of Cyberpunk, the more you unlock with missions, street vendors, and also dialogue options. It should be pointed out that your choices in this game also have consequences. If you can choose your own life path and have a branch in dialogue, there needs to be consequences in place, otherwise those things just wouldn't matter. CD Projekt Red have also said that there will be some tough choices to make within Cyberpunk. One example is getting legendary weapons. These legendary weapons are only used by main characters in the game, and you need to make the decision to either kill that character to get that weapon, or you let that character live because you like that character and they're actually going to be giving you other missions within the future. The choice is all yours. With these life paths and the branch and dialogue, and also your choices having consequences, CD Projekt Red have finally paired all of that up to have multiple endings. So the choices that you pick will lead your character down a path which will be different to the choices that I pick. And it'll be exciting to see what type of endings this game has. Side missions play a big part within the game. It's not all about the main story. Side activities, missions, and challenges will be available and will distract you from the story. And for those of you that did play Witcher 3, the same quest system that was in that game will be in Cyberpunk, except that it's been built on top of so that there should be some more good stuff. Romance options are within the game. In Cyberpunk 2077, the player will be able to romance a number of characters available within Night City. However, you can't have a romantic relationship with everyone. Your character must meet specifications in order to romance certain characters. Some romances are only available through certain life paths, which are chosen at the beginning of the game. This can also link into your character customization. So depending whether you chose a male or female voice would also decide whether or not a character will find you attractive. Some characters will not be romanceable and others will simply go both ways no matter the player's choice. So there's going to be a huge variation in this as well. Map size is something that players always talk about with open world games. And while The Witcher 3 may have a bigger map in terms of footprint, it failed to utilize vertical space, with massive buildings and skyscrapers, which Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be filled to the brim with. So it will not take you that long to get from one side of the map all the way to the other. But with this, we're also talking about verticality. Whilst you're trying to go from one side of the map to the other, there'll be a number of different elevators which can take you to different floors, and with each floor there will be so much to explore. A dynamic weather system will be within the game. This is not that groundbreaking. You see this a lot in open world games, but this just adds to a city being alive. You'll be able to see how the weather will go from sunny, bright blue skies to stormy weather, and you can even get acid rain within the game. In addition to this, there will be night and day cycles. This is also something very similar to dynamic weather. A lot of open world games already take advantage of this, but it just adds to the variation and will just give it a more immersive experience. NPCs have day-to-day lives. Cyberpunk has a huge number of NPCs within the game, each with daily lives that they need to attend to. It means you're not going to see the same two exact same looking NPCs walking side by side on the street. A lot of these NPCs have been handcrafted and each one has a specific thing that they need to do. Once you add all of this together, this is the variation in weather, time of day, NPCs, vehicles, side missions available. It brings a fully in-depth and alive city like no other. CD Projekt Red have said that there will be no loading screens within Cyberpunk after the initial load. This allows you to move seamlessly throughout the world. You go to a building and you can walk straight through the front door without having to wait through a loading screen just so you can enter. And for those of you that will question, well, this just means that there's probably going to be an even longer loading screen at the beginning. You also have to bear in mind that this game will be on next-gen consoles, so if you're taking advantage of that SSD, that loading screen at the beginning shouldn't be as long as if you're on a hard drive. We've already briefly mentioned it in a few other areas, but Street Cred is one of the XP systems that will unlock more content within the game. This could be vendors, cyberware, dialogue options, or even items or clothing. It is very important within the world. The other XP system is your overall rank, and every time you rank up, you will be rewarded with a skill point, and that skill point can be used within a skill tree. And this will increase these abilities. CD Projekt Red have confirmed a photo mode will be available within Cyberpunk 2077. I know not everyone will use this, but for those of you that enjoy virtual photography, you can use this to capture very cool events that happen within Cyberpunk. And also linking this to what I've been saying previously in some previous points, the world is alive. And there's so much to explore despite it being a smaller map than The Witcher 3. There's going to be a number of different things that you want to take pictures of which just are weird and wacky, or just something cool and amazing. You want to show that off either being on Twitter, Instagram, or just to your friends. Keanu Reeves is in the game. This is probably been the #1 headline for quite some time. Keanu plays as Johnny Silverhand, and the reveal of E3 2019 blew everyone away. And just as an extra point, Keanu Reeves' custom motorcycle company is also within the game. This company is called Arch Motorcycle, and you will be able to own this bike and ride around on it. Sound is very important to CD Projekt Red. They could have very easily cheaped out on the music for the game, but they went above and beyond. Johnny Silverhand plays for a band called Samurai, and CD Projekt Red got Refused to play the music. Refused are a real-life hardcore punk band originated from Sweden. You also have Lizzie Wizzy in the game, which is one of Night City's top celebrities. This character is played by Grimes, who is a Canadian singer, songwriter, record producer, and visual artist. And I'm sure with getting someone like that in to do the voiceover, that we're definitely going to hear some sort of music from her. So we see that music is very important. And we also know that CD Projekt Red went above and beyond for the vehicles within the game, because they recorded over 40 different vehicles. And this isn't just recordings of a car going flat out in a straight line. We're talking about going around different types of corners at different speeds. The cars braking, doors opening, doors closing, windows opening, windows closing, cars starting up, the UI button sound. There's so many little things that they paid attention to so that they can get every single one of these sounds, mix them up, and have a number of different vehicles with a number of different sounds, making each car unique within the game. This is the level that CD Projekt Red have gone to for sound within Cyberpunk. DLC is planned for Cyberpunk. Future DLC has been confirmed, and what has been said so far, it looks like there will be 2 major DLCs which will most likely be paid DLC, similar to what we had with The Witcher 3. But there will also be free DLC to come out, and this will most likely be new clothing options, some side quests. But free content we're gonna be taking all day long. For those of you that are hyped for this game or want to see a multiplayer version, multiplayer is coming to Cyberpunk. It just won't be coming to Cyberpunk 2077. There will be a separate AAA project which is actually in the works as we speak, and it is penciled in for release in 2022. What CD Projekt Red want to do is release all of the single player content for Cyberpunk 2077, and then that's when the Cyberpunk multiplayer will start being advertised, and we'll probably get a release date at that point. But that's still a couple years within the making. But even without having any information about this, there's already a lot of hype for this game as well. You can now do a non-lethal run within Cyberpunk. Originally you couldn't do this, but after many fans begged for a non-lethal run within the game, CD Projekt Red have decided to implement non-lethal rounds to every single weapon, so that now you can have a playthrough without killing a single enemy. As a role-playing game, it comes down to choice, and now you have the option of what you want to do. This also highlights how CD Projekt Red do listen to the fans and are willing to change things just to make players happy. There will be no microtransactions within Cyberpunk. This was confirmed quite some time back, but it's still good to talk about it. For you to get the best weapons, the best cyberware, clothing, and any other items, you need to play the game. You can't just buy money just to get around it. You see games that do implement microtransactions, which is linked into the currency, what they would do is make everything 1,000 times harder because they want to encourage players to buy those microtransactions. This seems to be something that CD Projekt Red are trying to avoid. Delays have also played a part within the hype. Delays are not something we enjoy hearing about, but every time the game does get delayed, expectations are raised for the game. This might not actually necessarily be a good thing. I imagine some people have really unrealistic expectations at this point because of how many times this game has been delayed. But every single time that we get so close to the game and it just eventually gets delayed, you get fans that are angry, but you also get fans that just really can't wait to finally get their hands on it. And finally, the 34th reason why we're so hyped, the game just generally looks good, and because this game overlaps in so many areas with everything that I've just spoken about in this video, of course it would lead to a game where everything just looks amazing. And this is why it's been the most talked about game for the last couple of years, because of the attention to detail in so many different areas. And yes, because of time constraints, CD Projekt Red have had to cut back on certain things, but a lot of the work that they've put in we will still be able to see, and that's got so many fans excited. But anyway guys, those are 34 different reasons of why players are hyped for Cyberpunk 2077. If I have missed anything and there's a specific reason why you're so hyped for this game, then let me know in the comment section down below. If you do want to catch up and just talk more about Cyberpunk, or even see me play Cyberpunk when it is released, there is links in the description down below which will take you to a number of different platforms. The one I am pointing out right now though is the Twitch stream. Head over to there, drop a follow, and you'll be notified the next time I go live or when we start doing those Cyberpunk streams in the future. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going to see ya.